Here we go, here we go, here we go. Thanks for being up, thanks for being out. Welcome, 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 welcome everyone. How are we doing? How are we feeling this good morning? Where are we at, people? What are we doing? Are we up? Is it the morning, afternoon, the evening? And we are out here. Good morning. What's up? Who is that? Kung Fu Blast. Welcome in, Kung Flu. Kung Fu, not Kung Flu. Welcome in. How are we doing this morning? Where are you checking in from? What time is it where you are? I am on the East Coast. We are in the DMV. And it is time to get up, be blessed, be strong, be brave. Another great day. Another day for us to be thankful for all we have, be purposeful in our growth. And it is 1:31 a.m. Navas, where are we checking in from, Navas? 3:30, woke up early. Go make coffee. Let's get that coffee made. What type of coffee you drinking? Making that coffee at home, nice and fresh. Get up. I try not to. Recently saw a program. They did a study about mornings and waking up. It was a Chris Williamson show. I always say the gentleman's name wrong who was on the show, but big scientist guy. One of the things he was talking about is putting off caffeine until an hour into the day. Dude, that's hard. Like, I'm on my, usually by an hour into the day, I'm on my second shot of caffeine. So I do understand. I'm up here, I'm out, and that's in Cali, Navas. Welcome in, Cali. Thank you. And black with sugar. I'll be honest, like some French vanilla creamer in mine. Prefer iced coffee, actually. So it comes from my time as a personal trainer. I do a lot of energy drinks, Red Bulls. So had a caffeine overdose once, did not know that was a thing, but I was able to pull that off. Remember the little Mio squirt bottles where you just squirt it into your water? I was I was drinking that thing like Kool-Aid. So had a bad experience with that, but we learned from that. We we now allow for, we take our caffeine in more moderate doses. So, how's everyone doing this morning? Everyone doing good? Feeling good, prepared to be blessed. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a part of the stream. Thank you for checking in. What do you have there? Say, I've done the waiting for caffeine, but don't see the difference. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. So yes, I do walk every morning, and I walk from 4:30 to 5. I started doing the walk. For me, it was just an opportunity to get up, get out, get fresh thoughts, get my mind right, get prepared for my day. And then I added this element of bringing you guys along with me. First stop is always up at the top of the hill in my little neighborhood. It's a pretty good view. So I take a moment, just stop up here. Oh, early morning walk is beautiful. Oh, indeed, walking in the dark is phenomenal. It's quieter. It's not as much that reduction in noise, almost like the constriction of eyesight of what you can do, allows for you to focus in more on your activity, either on your run or on your thoughts or your focus. Like for example, on these walking talks that I do in the morning, always love having conversations about development, discipline, personal awareness, personal accountability. And so I started adding like little topics to talk about. So this morning's topic is about fear, and how to lead through fear, how to lead with courage and have courage. I don't know, it was such I guess growing up, having courage was such a superhero trait. It was like, in order to be brave, you had to have some other, catalyst for bravery. Like you had to have some power or some measure of great capability or bravery if you were, or you had to be broke, right? Like being wealthy or being successful people and wealthy people weren't brave. When at least that's what the media showed. Like that's what you saw on television and in comics. Like wealthy people and successful people weren't brave. So bravery and courage came from those who stood up to, who overcame or who had to suffer or deal with being poor. So bravery was or courage was a characteristic of the broke or poor or downtrodden. So it's really interesting to kind of look at that as I've grown and kind of watch the world come of age. No traffic. Okay, and that is Scoopy Doop. How you doing? Thank you for stopping in, Scoop. Where you checking in from? If you could do me a favor, guys, anyone who hasn't, if you could go ahead, drop a thumbs up, I appreciate it. Always reminds me when I see certain people in the chat, it reminds me that people are watching. So if you guys haven't done so yet, if you could drop a thumbs up, I'd really appreciate it. And remember, when you check in, take a moment. Put down in the chat where you're checking in from, what time it is, how are things going for you. So, oh, awesome. Thank you very much, Kung Fu. On Hill, what's up? How's the walking? Doing pretty good this morning. How you doing, the Watcher? Nighttime's a beautiful time, guys. I prefer to do it early in the morning versus late in the evening. Late in the evening, when the body's settling, I like to use that time to reflect on the day, to take it with me into my rest, to understand that I've been purposeful in my day and the things I've done. And then I like to get up early in the morning and start my day with it as well, to understand that I'm starting my day with purpose and that I have intention. So thank you so much for being here, guys. Welcome into this walk. If you haven't done so, as I said before, please take an opportunity, drop a thumbs up, a like. Make sure you check in where you're from, what time it is. I'm feeling great this morning, guys. Always an honor. How long do you walk in the morning? So I do a 30-minute walk and then I turn around and run back home. So I have a wife, I have 7 children, and I've added this as part of my routine because our days can get started when they do. They get hectic quick. So one of the things that I have to make sure that I'm doing is, as a leader to this family, make sure I'm taking the time to get the appropriate perspective to go into the day, bringing positivity, care, and nourishment into my household. It takes a moment for us all to wake up. And then if we don't lead with intention, if we don't live with intention, then anything that's just left to just kind of to the wind, to just kind of see where it's going, it turns to chaos, right? So we have to be intentional. So I've become very intentional about waking up, very intentional about my thoughts, about my words, my purpose, very intentional about my behaviors so that I am being the leader that my children need, that my wife needs, that my family needs, and that I need to be, so that I'm learning to lead myself so I can lead my household. And there is a purpose in that, right? And so that's why this whole thing is kind of turned into what it has turned into for me. It's more than just being active early. There's a full purpose behind this activity, behind being here at this time, doing this thing. Fourth day drunk, 150 beers in 4 days. Okay, are you trying to set a record? All right, and what do we have there? Sounds like you have a great handle on things. So I tell you what next? What I do have is a growing understanding of what the handle needs to look like, right? I am by no means where I am going to be, right? I am by no means as productive. I am not a finished product. I am constantly aware of the development and work that I need to do. But I tell you what I am that I hadn't been for a while is I'm happy. I'm happy because I understand the purpose for my actions. I understand the purpose for why I do things, the people I do things for. I know what my goal is. And so I know even along the way, as I encounter challenges, as I run into hardships, as I deal with difficulties, I know that all of those things that I'm dealing with are a part of making me the person that I need to be. They're a part of helping me to grow into the person that can sustain and that can live with the vision and the goal that I have for my future. And so I know I am becoming that every day. So that is a reward, and that leads to the ability to be able to be happy. And that is what life's about, right? Like true wealth is freedom, right? True wealth is freedom of time, to be able to spend that time with the people you love, where you want to, when you want to, how you want to. And so when you say, I guess I have a handle on things, I do have a handle on understanding where I'm going and why the days look the way they do, why the actions are what they are. So I do have a handle on that. Hello, good morning, Fearless Army, welcome in, yes sir. Welcome back. Good morning, Melissa, how are you doing? What's next? Thank you, I appreciate that. Progress. Thank you, definitely mindset. Mindset is definitely where we have to start. Thank you very much. I appreciate the ability to be of support and to be a voice of reason. Great. I tell you what, I'll be completely honest with you. So you said you want to be like me. I'll be completely honest with you. I never make a recommendation, as flattering as that is. I never make a recommendation that we seek to be like someone else. I do make a recommendation that we seek to find our purpose and who we are, and we seek to be the best version of ourselves. And so what that means is when we seek to be like someone else, we kind of look at them and we're like, and I used to do this as a personal trainer. When I first started personal training, I just figured everybody wanted to be, they wanted to be like I was. You know, you wanted to be big like me. You want to be strong like me. You want to look like me. So everybody should do what I'm doing. And it wasn't just me who was doing this. Like personal training as a, personal training as a whole, because I'm old, I'm 52. So in the time when I started doing personal training, basically you walked into the gym and you found somebody and you say, hey, can you work out with me, right? And so during that time, My whole thing was, well, I just need to make everybody who works out with me look like me. Everybody needs to work out like me. But what's really important is you start with yourself, right? You start with your mindset. You start with what it is you're trying to achieve. And you can look for help. You can find resources to help you achieve and arrive at the goal that you want for yourself. But it's important to understand that along that process, what you're really doing is you're becoming the best version of you because you want to be happy, right? You want to be fulfilled. You want to have purpose and you want to live in it. So our purpose may be different, but our mindset, and the mindset is the biggest thing because we have to have a mindset that the life that we want to live is possible. We have to fight against distraction because there's a world full of distraction that would like to pull our attention in other directions away from our own development and growth. And we have to work against that. We have to see those distractions, identify them, and move past them. And we just have to continue to grow, continue to work harder on ourselves than we do at the things that we do for work. That's a old Jim Rome's line. And it was the way he says it is, make sure you work harder on yourself than you do on your job, because we spend so much time working on our jobs, thinking about our jobs, bringing our jobs home, thinking about the customers or the services that we provide and the support that we go in. We learn more about the company. We learn more about our product. We research our competitors, and we do a lot of hard work to be valuable in that space. But if that company belongs to someone else, we are being used towards fulfilling the purpose of the business owner and the business owner's family and their dreams and their yachts and their homes and their vacations and their time with their family. Not that any of those things are bad, but if we work on ourselves the same way, not only do we still have the opportunity, because we don't all have to own a business. Not everybody wants a yacht. Not everybody has the same fulfillment or what they view as happiness. But if we work on ourselves and we understand our purpose, then we can understand what our happy is. We can understand what it is we're working towards, how we're looking to achieve it, how do we get there, and as we continue to do this work, we'll continue to grow. We'll continue to become more purposeful. And then, like I said before, that allows for you to be happy. That allows for you to understand what you do doesn't define who you are. So just some of the things that are important in that space. But as I was saying earlier, today's talk is about fear. And so with all of those things, thank you very much for the follow. I appreciate that. Contavious, what's the word, Uncle? What's going on? Good morning. Courage is the word this morning as far as walking in the morning. Thank you very much for the follow. And Willie. All right, Willie, not sure what that question is, but thank you for being a part of the chat. All right, guys, and if you can go ahead, if you haven't done so yet, if you can take an opportunity to drop a thumbs up, please like, subscribe, and share. I'm out here every morning for this walk, but I want to kind of take a moment today to talk about what the topic is about. And the topic is about courage, and it's about leading through fear. Fear is always about a future thing, right? One of the things that we have to understand about fear is it can become destructive in a way of destroying our mindset. It creates hesitancy. It slows down productivity. It creates instability, uncertainty. There are a lot of negative things that come from fear. And fear is always based on an expectation of a future outcome that is unfavorable. And so fear prevents us from having difficult conversation. Fear prevents us from acting. Fear prevents us from taking steps on our jobs. It prevents us from growing. Fear is always about an unfavorable outcome. I'll never forget my older brother. I was talking to him one day. It was much younger, had to be in like middle school or something like that. And he was only a couple of years older than me, older than I was at that time. And so he says to me, it says, I say, I'm interested in this girl at school. And he was like, well, why don't you ask her out? I was like, what if you say no? I said, what if she says no? He looks at me and he was like, man, people said no to Jesus. Who are you? So, so it didn't, I didn't internalize that courage immediately, but that stuck with me. That line stuck with me, that thought stuck with me. And it's like, okay, so what are the things that are preventing me from taking the actions that I believe are best for me? What are the things that are standing in the way of me taking the actions to move me in a direction of happiness in my life? And those things mostly are fear. I don't want to say those things are always fear, because there may be other things, but I do know as I look at my life, as I look at the things that I've been through, the way I've lived, the challenges that I've faced, it has been a lot about fear, right? That was a great quote. It was surprising. So one of the things is that fear can definitely rule over your life without question. And so one of the things that I had to come to understand is, well, if you don't have a plan, right? Because a large part of fear is uncertainty. It's not even about, I'm afraid that this particular thing is going to happen, right? And the crazy thing about uncertainty is we don't view uncertainty as fear. We just view uncertainty as, oh, well, no, I just need to have a better understanding, right? I'm not sure. I need to do more research. I need to be better prepared. I need to figure some things out first. Like, I don't know what it looks like. And we oftentimes will use the component of preparation and unsureness to hold us back, to prevent us from taking action, to keep us where we are. And the thing about it is, you can be fearful and you can still be successful in areas of your life. You can still find areas of your life where fear is preventing you from acting in one area, but you're still being productive or successful in another area. And then that makes fear turns into, well, it doesn't matter, right? Excuse me. And so at that point, it's no longer about, hey, well, I'm afraid to do this thing. I'm fearful of doing this thing. It turns into, well, it really doesn't matter. I don't really need to do it. I'm good, right? And so there are those components of it as well. But fear, when fear comes in, and here's the thing is, if you keep revisiting this thing and you keep looking at this thing and it keeps coming up to you, and it definitely is a thing that you need as part of your purpose, you have to align it. You have to deal with it. You have to face it. And then you have to understand whatever the outcome is, if your intention aligns with your purpose, the outcome will be what the outcome needs to be for you to arrive at your purpose, right? I voted financial. You need to prepare for this. All right. AB, welcome in. How you doing? Thank you so much for checking in, guys. Also, as I said before, if you haven't had the opportunity to, guys, please take a moment, drop a thumbs up, like. Also, you can subscribe I'm out here every morning from 4:30 to 5. I would love for you guys to join me. And so, yeah, so when we're talking about fear, when we're talking about being able to overcome it, we have to be able to identify it in all of the ways in which it shows up. Because fear is not going to always show up the same way for everyone. And as I said before, you may get to points, you may have points where it doesn't even look like fear. It just looks like, oh no, I'm making a conservative decision, or I'm going to get to it later. As I said before, fear can lead to procrastination. Fear can lead to delayed judgment. And fear is not always, like fear doesn't show up in the way we believe it's going to always show up. It doesn't always show up in this debilitating inability to move or progress, this broken, destroyed, crippled person crying, laying in a corner. As I said when I first started this walk, when I was growing up, fear was something that anyone who was successful had. Like all successful people were fearful, right? And during the time I was growing up, all the television shows, all of the comics, all of the little entertainment showed that the only way to truly be without fear was to be able to suffer, to be able to be poor. You must overcome, you must endure difficulty, where you never improved your life, but the courage to live with being broke, the courage to stand up and never rise. Those were the things that were considered to be courage and absent of fear. And now we're in a society now where we get to the point where I grew up, where we now have this thought process that, oh, well, I need to look for more ways to challenge my life. I need to look for greater difficulty in my life so I can overcome those challenges. And so when I don't feel like I'm making enough money, the problem is I need to work harder. I need to, you hear sayings like, don't be afraid of a hard day's work. Well, don't be afraid of a hard day's working on yourself, right? Don't be afraid to get up and try. Well, don't be afraid to try improving and growing yourself. And so fear has always been in the past tied to the fear of doing what's necessary to achieve your goals. And so all rich people were born rich and they don't have to do anything. But you as a poor person or a middle-class person or a person who's not wealthy, you have to. So rich people are the bad guys and you have to have the courage to overcome and grow. And that's not the reality. It is all about, as I said before, it's about you. It's about developing your mindset. It's about understanding your purpose, your goal, what you want in your life, and then going for it. How does this impact us? When it comes to fear specifically, the major way that it impacts us is it lets us know that we have to understand that our ability to take action in our life is dependent on us. If we don't take the opportunity and the time to take that action, and that is driven by fear that we may not succeed, as I've heard some people say, what do we have to lose? If you feel like you don't have what you want to have or you need in your life, what do we have to lose by taking action on something different, right? What do you have to lose by not taking action? Are you afraid you're going to be more broke? Are you afraid you're going to be more behind? Are you afraid you're going to be more unhappy? Take the steps towards happiness. Take those steps towards success. Don't be fearful of what may happen if you take the steps. Understand the reality of what's happening now while you're standing still. And then that allows for us to make better decisions, make decisions that are going to be more powerful, decisions that are going to align with who we are and where we're going so that we can see that positivity and grow. What's that? Yee. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. That is my hope. That is my prayer, is that this is what's building mindset, productivity, building actions, building understanding of the future and the things that are important to making us as individuals continue to grow, continue to develop. Was that baby? Man, you know what's cracking? Early morning walk and talk. AB, taking action is always key. It's always key to take action. And so I believe for a large part of my life, there were moments when I was fearful. There were times when I worked with companies where I was fearful of, if I do the wrong thing, I'm going to lose this job and I'm not going to be able to care for my family, even though I believe this thing is the right thing to do, right? And I did some things. I did the right thing to do, and I lost a job. And I was able to better take care of my family because of it. And so just being able to understand that the work that I'm doing is leading towards the life that and the purpose that I have for my family is important for me. And it is the reason why I continue to take these strides and to live this life with purpose. Again, guys, if you haven't taken the opportunity to, please take a chance. Go ahead, drop a thumbs up. Please like, subscribe. Ryan, good morning. How are you doing this morning? Thanks for being here. Keep in mind, guys, if you turn on the notifications, you'll be here every morning as a part of my walk and talks. They start at 4:30. I spend this time, as I said before, preparing myself. I like sharing it with you guys. It's definitely an opportunity for me to continue to focus and understand my purpose. It's now 5 o'clock. I need to turn around, get started on my way back to the house. I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much for being a part of the conversation. Nighttime, it's morning time. Actually, it's now 5:02 in the morning. Thank you so much for being a part, guys. Again, please like, subscribe, and share. God bless, and you guys have a blessed Sunday.